and residing in Spain, this is the year he's really come on.
And people say, who do you like as maybe a future #1? I like this guy. I mean, I like him to win the French a couple of times. I think he's going to be better on the hard courts. He's proven he can win matches, and he's not intimidated playing on indoors or on hard courts, and that's a big key for a clay court.
Taking out the 16th seed American Jan-Michael Gamble to reach this quarterfinal. Patrick Rafter serving first ball. And this is their head-to-head. Juan Carlos currently leading 2-0.
Scottsdale on hard, but that hard court's a little bit slower. And then, of course, the Davis Cup victory on clay. And now, again, the fear factor gone. Juan Carlos Ferrero respects Rafter.
And you would expect that victory on clay, not as much on hard court. In that clay court match, Rafter actually having the default due to cramps.
Watch the racket head speed from the Spaniard. Right from the return side. Whips it down at the feet of Rafter. Rafter has to dig it up out of the weeds there. See how low he gets. And then here's the backhand pass. Starts high, gets underneath, and whips it. Whips it good.
And quickly to love 30.
And that's the first serve that Rafter's been looking for. Remember, he was as low as 15% first serves in against Martin. And if he does that tonight, he's not going to win the match. He knows he has to get in that well-placed first serve to attack Ferrero.
And an easy missed volley by Rafter. Now down 2 break points.
Well, Rafter tries this, semi-drop volley just to bring in the Spaniard up to the front court, but doesn't take care of business. See how he drops the racket head right at the last second. Misses the volley.
And we've seen him already. Juan Carlos hit some good returns. How do you think he's going to be returning throughout this match?
I mean, if you're going to return this well in the opening, out of the opening bell, you have to expect Juan Carlos Ferrero to know Rafter's serve. He's played him now twice. He's 2-0, so he's not going to be kind of questioning where this serve's going. This is the big one. I want to see the second serve now. Break point. What Ferrero does with it. Whips a forehand, whips a backhand with tremendous amounts of topspin.
Rafter double faults on break point, losing his serve in the opening game. We had talked about Andre Pavel and the tennis he's played this week. And today, really an excellent match taking down Andy Roddick.
An 11-year journeyman, really a veteran out here who has an all-court play and can play on all surfaces. But this is great for him. Great work ethic. And Tommy Haas, hey, you warmed him up today. I warmed him up yesterday. He's got the ESPN vibe going for him.
Yeah, but he won in straight sets after he warmed up with me.
Oh, there you go. Well, you just had more confidence after just routining you in the practice.
Haas or Pavel never having reached the Masters Series semifinal. So big opportunity for both of those players.
I think Haas was a big surprise with that. I mean, I always thought this is a guy who can consistently be in the top 10 with his weapons. About the athletic ability of Patrick Rafter being able to kind of muscle his way around with Todd Martin. He can't do that here. He has to do a little bit more mentally, clean up some points. See, the half volley's too short. He has to play a solid game of tennis, front court aggressive tennis. Juan Carlos Ferrero is not a typical clay court player. He has a big first serve. He has a solid second serve. It's not a weapon, but you can't really attack it. He's good on both sides. Most clay courters have a weaker wing.
30 love.
Not going to like that call. But nicknamed the Mosquito, and I'll tell you, he really has the ability to sting shots. Comes to the net every once in a while, takes the approach shot, isn't afraid to come to the net. Another example of a big second serve. Has a little direction on it, right into the body of Rafter.
And isn't that really going to be the next evolution of his game? The ability to come in, taking a look at that serve right up the tee, which from that view looks in, but improving his ability to work his way to the net. Ferrero holds on to serve. 2 games to love. Our tennis continues on ESPN at 1 p.m. Eastern with Andre Pavel and Tommy Haas, who we just mentioned, then back again at 8 Eastern with the semifinal.
That's going to be good. I mean, I really like the chances for both players. I mean, Pavel's going to have to regroup now mentally after such a high beating Roddick.
That 8 p.m. match will be the bottom half. The winner of this match taking on the winner of Santoro Ularak.
Boda. Talking about a nice return, getting that forehand, whipping it cross court. Right now, it looks like Rafter is completely confused. He's being outplayed. His aggressive, attacking play is just not doing any damage. A funny bounce, a shank from Ferrero. Bounces funny and catches and handcuffs Rafter.
Look at the net points, 1 of 7 for Rafter.
I'm telling you, Ferrero hits a nasty ball. And if you've ever played, I mean, Kent Carlson, remember that Swede, that guy, you know, little known Swede, just played on clay, tons of topspin. Ferrero has that type of topspin, but he drives it. And when you volley it, it actually shakes the racket out of your hand sometimes. Body serve really kicking up on that, almost off the line, catching Ferrero by surprise.
30.
Interesting to note where Ferrero is standing, right up on the baseline.
And where you'd see Guga standing deep behind the baseline. That's the difference between 2 clay quarters. The French Open champion Gustavo Curtin and this dangerous, you know, Italian Open champion of this year, Ferrero, standing in tight. I love that. Great positioning.
34.
And when you do that, just taking fractions of seconds away from Rafter when he's trying to get in.
Well, Rafter can't get inside that service line where he likes it. Now he's just picking off half volley. And he just can't throw it out there. He has to do something with the volley or Ferrero's going to pass.
Break point.
Ferrero guesses for the forehand serve, the one going down the middle. Guesses wrong, and he's ending up kind of backtracking, stabbing at that return. But the difference between Ferrero and Guga, in my opinion, is the 2-hand backhand. The 2-hand backhand allows Ferrero to rip returns and stand in on that baseline, standing close. I've never liked a one-hander returning. I mean, except for Edberg, I will kick serves all day to Lendl, to Sampras, Guga. They have to stand so far back.
Wouldn't you really say that Ferrero, who's a great clay court player, isn't really your typical clay courter because of that aggressiveness? That return sailing just wide. Rafter finally gets on the board and holds serve. 2 games to 1. He's down a break, though. Juan Carlos to serve when we come back. Welcome back from Montreal in the Tennis Masters Series. Due to the length of this match, we're going to move ahead in the first set. This year at the Tennis Masters Series Rome, the 2 best clay courters in the world, Juan Carlos and this man, Gustavo Kuerten, squared off in the final.
Well, Gustavo came out on fire in the first set, and then it was all Juan Carlos after that. Look at the ability going side to side. This was early. Well, Guga was dictating, and Brazil was behind their man.
Guga had already won the Masters Series Monte Carlo a couple of weeks earlier. And really, after about 3.5 hours, Juan Carlos just started wearing Guga down.
Guga was totally out of gas by the end of this match.
And when serving for the match, an ace right up the tee for his first Masters Series win. And this is the current champions race. Andre Agassi still leading the race. Guga and Juan Carlos close behind.
Awesome, just awesome. Taking the return to serve, chipping and charging right down the center, cuts off the angle and cuts off the options for Ferrero. He can't really do that much, so he drives it back, whips it.
Great athleticism.
Both players quick, to the point.
Love 30.
Look at the muscles in this guy's legs. I mean, just it's Mel Washington type of legs. I mean, give him the Mel Washington workout.
They're not that good, are they?
Love
the second consecutive game, Juan Carlos down love 40 on his own serve.
Such a great matchup. I mean, it's the attacker, serve and volley player, and the baseliner ripping ground strokes. Who's going to control this match? The momentum, the tempo.
So finally, Patrick Rafter gets back on serve. Breaking serve at love. Aussie fans in the crowd.
Yeah, they're loving this, but Rafter has to take care of business right now. He hasn't really played a clean game on his service. Always really struggling to get into the game. I'd love to see a 40-love game for Patrick right now, 40-15. Get the momentum on the offensive end.
0-10. Love 50.
Rafter having to stretch time and time again. See how he has to lunge out to this, and then Ferrero just stabbing at that forehand pass.
Not your picture book volley. Those couple of volleys here is forehand.
Just because he's reaching. You know, he's not able to get the footwork over there. But that is. You see, when he can get his body behind the volley and hit cross court and hit down line, he's great.
15.
But Ferrero is putting a lot behind these returns, a ton behind his passing shots, and making Rafter stretch. Beautiful command of pace. Instead of going for a heavy kick serve, he goes almost 3/4. A huge changeup, gets in tight, and then hits the drop volley to score his point.
really just like a great pitcher, changing up the directions and the speeds and his location.
And it's tough to do when you're not playing that well. I mean, to try different things and execute them.
And for the first time this evening, Rafter has the lead. He's on serve. 4-3. Some of the sights and sounds of downtown Montreal, a city surrounded by rivers. It's an island here in Montreal. Patrick Rafter on serve, 4-3. And Luke, throughout Patrick's career, many different looks he's had.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's always been the ponytail. That's where he was at his best, winning the 2 U.S. Opens. The headband's gone. I mean, like the shaved head. It's like Mel Washington with the afro or no afro. You know, to me, you were very good with the big thing going, and it was awesome. But Patrick Rafter now, even though the aerodynamics is there, it's just the NBA does this headband. What is that?
Well, I don't know. He's in Canada. The Raptors do that.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I thought those Charlotte Hornets were doing that.
The Hornets did that too.
Yeah.
It's the Vince Carter look.
That's right.
Can 0. 15 left.
Watch for the second serve. Where does this thing going to land? Is it going to be well positioned, have enough pace, or is Rafter going to go after it? The forehand from Rafter over the years has really improved. I mean, to me, I thought there was a huge weakness. It's not as strong as his backhand, but now he can hit winners every once in a while and kind of move his opponents into different positions in the court.
I think it used to be a liability.
Awesome backhand. Again, the two-hander going over the high part of the net, staying balanced.
30-15.
Just the ripping forehand set up. Rafter getting depth on this, so he has to come off, jump up into the ball, drives it down the lawn. Juan Carlos Ferrero trying a little drop shot action. He has that. I've seen him do it a ton of times on clay. That's dangerous on hard courts because the ball's going to bounce up and Rafter's very quick. Just great tennis. I mean, Ferrero's hitting big shots, and then another point, Rafter steps up and he hits a big shot.
34.
And now a break point for Patrick Rafter. Good running from Rafter.
Égalité. Deuce. Avantage, Ferrero.
Solid serve with the forehand side, getting the cheap point. Clay quarters just don't roll in the serves anymore. They really bust it out, try to get some free points.
That ace gives Ferrero the game. 4 games all.
Capital 5-2.
ESPN coverage of the Tennis Masters Series continues next week from Cincinnati. Our coverage begins Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and continues throughout the week on both ESPN and ESPN2. Then on Wednesday, we'll be at the Tennis Masters Series Cincinnati. Our ESPN and ESPN2 shows will be interactive specials. Featured will be ESPN.com poll questions that can be directed to players and ESPN commentators. From the Players Lounge.
We had fun doing that last year. I think it's going to be awesome, really on site with all the questions from the fans.
10-0. 15.
I love this angle. You can see the power of Rafter moving forward into the net.
The draw for Cincinnati has already come out, and a great matchup we saw here this week will happen again next week. When top seed Gustavo Kirten takes on American Andy Roddick.
Yeah, that war part 2, week 2 of this summer hardcourt swing. Rafter showing his ability to get up, but look at that, just stabbing at that forehand.
Pete Sampras will be taking on Nicholas Lepenti in the first round, which I think, especially if it's in the heat as Cincinnati
that 1
usually
p.m.
is.
ESPN match, baby.
That could be a battle for Sampras.
If I'm Anacone, I'm calling up the tournament and say, hey, Cincy, can we get a 7 o'clock start on that first round?
That was a winner all the way if it hadn't hit the net, but nonetheless, game to Rafter. He holds serve at love. 5-4 and 1 game from the first set. Patrick Rafter leading 5-4, and we spoke to Patrick and asked him what he thought about his present tennis.
That's the way I'm hitting the ball when I get into the rallies. Serving, I need to pick up a little bit. Not really happy with my rhythm on my serving, and I guess the concentration is not really there. I'm sort of tapping in and tapping out. At the right times, I'm sort of there though, which is a good sign. But I don't want to push it too hard right now either. I don't want to mentally strain myself because I know it is it's very hot summer, and it's just begun, and I know it's pretty important to keep fresh, especially for the US Open. And that's where my energy really is, is focused on there. But I know it's important to win matches here as well for confidence.
Well, even though he's not playing, he feels his best tennis, he's had some very good wins this week.
I mean, to me, it's the guy who's looking for confidence, looking for rhythm. I mean, if you'd have won Wimbledon, I think that confidence would, but losing that 5-setter the second year in a row, losing a tough Wimbledon final, works on his psyche. Losing the semis of the Australian Open, works on him. Do I have what it takes to take home another slam? I mean, all these questions, and knowing this may be my last run at a slam.
Because he's been talking about retirement ever since January, which I think would be a shame for him to think about retiring now.
I just don't get it because I see his body language and he's fresh. It's not like he's, going to work one more day and he's kind of burned out from practice and the grind of it all. There's a whipping passing shot.
Cut on. 40.
Got jammed with the body serve. 40 love. Ferrero holds on to serve 5 games all. If Patrick Rafter does retire after this year, I mean, this is really the kind of legacy he's going to be leaving behind.
It's great stats. I mean, obviously, the 2 U.S. Open titles, Wimbledon finals, and he loves the Davis Cup. You know, to be able to be part of Australian Davis Cup history, I mean, that's monster for him. And that last stat, I mean, being in the semis of the French Open, a lot of people don't remember that he did get to the semis before losing to Bruguera. Solid on clay, good kick serve, obviously helps it on the dirt.
Well, I'll just tell you right now, if Patrick doesn't retire after this year, which I really hope he doesn't, he's my pick to win Wimbledon next year. I mean, I think this guy is just too great of a tennis player to not win Wimbledon.
Well, until a guy named Pete Sampras retires and says, you know, I'm not playing Wimbledon anymore, I can't, it's hard to not put a 7-time winner.
Do you think Pete can win it again?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Federer played out of his mind to win them. I mean, come on. Beautiful coverage around the net. Faking the down the line coverage, going cross court, guessing right.
30-50.
If you watch the Rafter here, Rafter hits the half volley, fakes like he's going down the line. See that little stutter step, and then he goes cross court. Great coverage.
Left.
Rafter seems to be just in a better rhythm right now on his serve, just with those half volleys and those volleys than he was early in the match when he was getting his serve broken.
And it's finding the pace of the Ferrero ball. I mean, in the beginning, it's just going to overwhelm you. Unless you have practice partners like Mel Washington throwing you the heat like Haas has.
Cut on. Okay. 40-50.
And so many times, you know, your coach will talk about taking your split step and volleying. Look how many times he has to actually hit this half volley.
You see how he hit the little toss spin on this? I always call that the little Johnny Mac half volley. Gets down low, bends with those strong legs. Reminds me so much of a Pat Cash. Remember Pat Cash? Just not as much heat, but with the big strong legs, getting in, hitting the half volley with his legs.
Huge quads he had.
Huge quads.
Rafter holding on to serve once again. 6 games to 5 on serve. Juan Carlos has to hold to get this thing to a tiebreak.
It reminds me so much, and you might disagree, of a Lendl, but with a backhand.
15
with the same top spin and the same pace, almost as his forehand. And, you know, the big serve, it's the first serve is only going to get bigger. The second serve is only going to get bigger. He's a big, strong, fast guy. Remember Lendl dominating, I mean, 9 straight U.S. Open finals. Lendl hit a flatter ball than this guy.
Yeah. Now, I know a lot of my stats from the 80s and 90s, so I'm going to correct you there. 8 straight US Open finals.
That's right, because Pete got him in the quarters in 90.
1990, that was correct. Now, Lendl's always been a guy I have admired. I always admired his work ethic, so I followed his career very closely.
First serve.
Do you like the comparison with the Mosquito and Lendl, or am I off on that? I mean, he can play on hard courts. I mean, look at the way he's playing against one of the best hard court players in the game.
I think right now, I mean, speaking of your comparison, it just seems to me that Lindell early on had this air about him, and you know, maybe a little bit of arrogance. People were afraid of him because they knew the kind of tennis he could play. I think people are afraid of Juan Carlos on clay right now.
But not on this surface. There's the shank, and now an opportunity for the Aussie. 15-30. Wow. Clay quarters don't do that. I'm telling you. You can't say, oh, there's a dirty, blah, blah, blah. This is a fast court. Bust the big serve out wide. Gets the opportunity. Watch this. Gets the short ball. Takes it to town. Moment of truth right now. Second serve. Let's see. Let's have a gut check for Juan Carlos Ferrero.
Is Rafter coming in?
Oh yeah. And you got to come in. I mean, it's a pressure point. You're going to take on the youngster.
30-40.
And now Rafter, after battling throughout this whole set on his own serve, has a break point and a set point.
Keep on trucking, Rafter. Taking that second serve.
Juan Carlos. Well done from Rafter, running around that second serve. And he breaks serve and takes the first set, 7 games to 5. Patrick Rafter on a roll right now.
Two breaks in the first set, which pretty much closes the door on Rafter. Rafter found his footing, found his way in this match. Started to feel the ball a little bit better off of Ferrero's racket. Feel the same way when you play an Agassi, a guy who hits a heavy ball. It's the first couple games, it's tough to feel the, the ground strokes are so heavy, so fast.
Well, don't you just feel like you're being overwhelmed?
The pace picks up, and it takes a couple of games to get adjusted. And if you don't, you're done. Beautiful return. Getting the racket back early, short backswing. Juan Carlos hitting a lot of topspin returns. Normally he mixes it up, some blocks and some topspin returns. But tonight he's been just ripping.
I don't think we see any block returns out of him, have we?
Round 10. 30-50. Cut on 10. 40-50.
That served just over 100 miles an hour, but it's the kick that does the damage. The depth, the placement on that serve, jumping in on Juan Carlos Ferrero, that does all the work for Rafter.
Cut on 40-50.
Volley just sails long, but still game point.
Ferrero's not showing anything to me body language wise where, he's going to step up. Right now he's letting Rafter dictate to him. I'd like to see him on his toes dancing a little bit. Okay, come on, let's get going. I've lost the first set. Let's get back into this match.
Second.
A sense of urgency from Juan Carlos Ferrero. See how he's just standing there flat-footed, and then he kind of gets up, and you can't do that when you're behind.
Good Good stretch volley from Rafter. He holds on to serve. 1 game to love, second set. You know, so many times you see players trying to, I don't know, test their skills in other sports. Check out Rafter here.
Well, check out Graham Lloyd, another Aussie. Big lefty for the Montreal Expos, former Yankee. Oh, he's stretching out. Okay, let's say, come on, bada, swing, bada. Hey, check him out. Come on, pitch inside, come on.
Oh, look at that. I mean, a 3-bouncer to the outfield wall. I mean, that's a pop fly right there.
He's quitting tennis to go to baseball. Okay, this is it. Since the announcement, well, he hasn't really announced his retirement. I mean, Cal has hit 7 home runs. The All-Star, home run doesn't count.
Look at Tony, 444 average.
Can 0.
After 0 tire. 0 titles since he was talking in Australia about calling it a career at the end of the year.
He's playing baseball. He's bungee jumping. Every time I see like a thing about Rafter, he's like doing some crazy stunt. Good combination. The big first serve sets up the easy shot. Juan Carlos Ferrero getting up to the short ball. Watch how he moves his feet, and then bangs it.
And he holds on at love. 1 game all. The 101st U.S. Women's Amateur Open. The Women's Amateur has long identified some of golf's greatest women's players, many of whom go on to successful professional careers. That's this afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. For more, always log on to ESPN.com.
Learn how to play out of the bunkers when you go over there.
Left. First.
You play low golf, huh?
Yeah, but that's with the windmills and like the clown's mouth and stuff. The the little balls you have to pay for. Miniature golf, very small stuff.
Can 0.
So you're a chopper when you get out.
Oh, I'm such a chopper. See, I don't see the problem in putting all these clubs in your bag. I mean, what is this? The extra clubs? They throw them all in there. The kiss of the net cord. I mean, the momentum in this match is clearly with Rafter. I mean, he gets a little lucky here, but you don't get the sense that Rafter's going to give it up. He's found a rhythm on his serve. He's finding a way to break when it counts. It's not a bad, okay, 30 love, okay, he duffs the ball. It's not like it's 15 all or love 30. And what he's trying to do there is bring the clay quarter, the baseliner up to the net.
Now, what's going through Juan Carlos's mind, considering the chances he had in the first set?
All the times I've seen him play, he's very good mentally. He's tough. His body language is always pretty solid. Even when he's behind, I've seen him a number of times lose the first set and come back strong. See, good example. Takes the backhand return, jams it. Cross court, goes with the pitch, takes it early. Now, after a 30 love lead, now in a bit of a bind, Patrick Rafter kind of has to get things back. This is a chance for Juan Carlos Ferrero to really open up the second set. Just like that, rips the forehand cross court down. Love 30 in this game. Now a break point. Now you got to like this.
Cut out. 34.
Did Rafter let that ball go?
I think he just steamed past him.
And there it is. You called it, Luke. He gets the break, 2-1. Ferrero once again up a break early.
Ball near. Ball 2.
3-1. Rafter now serving with new balls.
The wind's starting to pick up down on this stadium court. This is where Ferrero was in a position in the first set. Let's see if he does some things different in the second. You know, mentally, try to get another break. Try to shut down the veteran here, Patrick Rafter.
Is that wind going to be an advantage to either player?
I think it's the advantage for the clay court at the baseliner because the ball's going to set up. Look at those records. Again, winning tons of matches.
Most of the wins from Juan Carlos coming on clay, though he still has a very good hard court record. Now becoming known as a very good hard court player.
I beat Roger Federer at the U.S. Open last year, got deep into the draw. Do not be surprised. I mean, this guy is right up there, #3 in the championship race this year. If he wins the slam, I mean, guys, things happen. Rafter being a little Charlie Casual on this showmanship. Oh, there you go.
And the easy put away on the overhead. 40 love.
Shoot.
Ace number 5.
Jeu.
For Rafter. 3-2. Back from Montreal, a very cultural city.
Time.
Some of the arts and crafts around town. A music festival going on this week in Montreal. Also, the top tennis players in the world.
See, I could never do one of those because I've got a huge head. My noggin, my melon is huge.
Luke, I agree with that.
It's unbelievable. I've tried makeup. I've tried surgery. Just nothing.
Makeup's not going to help that.
You know, you hide the shadows, whatever. It's a Maybelline day or something. It doesn't work for me.
0-10.
And you see Rafter now on his toes after that double fault, you know, scooting to the opposite side. He knows he has to strike back right now like he did in the first set.
Don't you think little body language like that works good against your opponent? Let him see you jumping around.
Rafter is on this guy's ball right now, getting in the rallies, keeping the ball high, then keeping the ball low, using the different levels, and then slicing the ball, coming over the ball. Where Ferrero doesn't get a steady diet of anything.
At the longest point of the match. That's going to do nothing but build his confidence if he can win points like that from the baseline.
You know, that body language stuff, Agassi over the last couple of years, running to the sideline, doing different things. He's very good with the body language now.
Rafter knew exactly what he wanted to do, was not able to execute. That was the time. time to do it. Love 30. Now 15-30.
Rafter. 30 over.
I see this, and you don't see it too often. You see a lot of juniors do that, but he thinks he has so much time twirling that thing around.
Really, the only guy on tour I can think of who does that.
He does it every time. Even coming to the net, he hits the approach and twirls it.
You know, the only other guy I can think of who did that, and you mentioned him earlier in the telecast, Kenneth Carlston.
There you go. Johan Creek used to spin it a ton, but that's right before he used to return serve, and then he wouldn't do it the rest of the match. I mean, the rest of the point. This guy's doing it between points. Hey, man, you can't hot dog around right now. This is a huge point.
That obviously just one of those things he did when he was a junior and just never got out of that habit. But it works for him.
Égalité. 2.
I think that's the biggest thing between old-time tennis and today's tennis. I mean, if you come out and you can execute a shot a certain way, hey, keep going. Where in old-time tennis, you had to hit a certain way. You had to grip the racket a certain way. And nowadays, I mean, you're swinging at volleys. I mean, old school guys, they look at today's game and they don't get too fired up, but it works.
Kind of reminds you of basketball, old school basketball compared to today's game, which is played, what do they call it? Above the rim.
Yeah. Ripping it. Great racket head speed, uses his legs, gets up into the ball, generates pace.
Ferrero.
And Ferrero holds on to serve with a bit of a struggle. 4 games to 2.
Fans getting into this thing now. You can really feel them leaning it.
And tomorrow on ESPN, you can watch Andre Pavel taking on Tommy Haas. 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 Pacific time, the semifinals. Immediately called out by the chair umpire.
10-0. 15.
Look at the footwork from Ferrero. Nice top spin lob. He gets over here and jams it cross court. Just missing it.
Wrong. 0. 30.
Oh, that's a junior call. What's that? You know, a little confirming the out call. Hey.
Well, he's just helping the lines person. That was.
That drives the player nuts when that happens. You know, the Williams sisters do that a lot.
Oh, yeah?
They'll go out, or, you know, they'll, like, call the ball out in a big situation. Ugh. That's when you give them a little chin music at the next point, you know?
Well, without question, I think you can persuade a lines person every once in a while with a look of disbelief that they didn't call it out.
That's right.
30-15.
I'm still saying, even from, oh, look at this second set, that second serve, really struggling because of the nice returns from Ferrero. In that ad court, even from last night, I think Patrick Rafter's crossing that plane in that ad sock. Trying to really snug that middle to get that angle going down the center.
Cut on. 42.
Ferrero took a cut at that ball. Game Rafter, 4 games to 3. Some beautiful tennis being played by these two players. Some beautiful tennis being played. And a beautiful sunset here in Montreal.
We got the wave going, man.
Oh, right. Kind of got it going. They're trying to get it going.
It's cranking.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. It's a round to the right, now at the other end. They got a slow motion wave like going down England. Did you see that Wimbledon this year?
Yeah.
A slow-mo wave.
And they're actually going to applaud themselves for that wave. Ferrero serving with the break in hand.
I just love his backhand return. Patrick Rafter gets to the side of the ball, extends through it, slices underneath the ball. That keeps the ball low, the nice slice. And this court will stay low. Puts a lot of pressure on the baseline of Ferrero. Where on the forehand side, he doesn't turn his shoulders.
15.
This is the key right here. Watch his shoulders. Stop it. See a beautiful cut coming up, moving forward.
Left.
And then when he takes that split step, well inside the baseline.
And you're
Preparing to hit the volley.
You're not trying to hit that with pace. You're just trying to place it deep and then get yourself in close to the net. Kind of scoot up there. Put yourself in position to cover the next shot.
Perfectly set up by Rafter. Opened up the court with this forehand right here and snuck in.
Did take care of business. See right at the end how he just drops his wrist. Don't drop the wrist. Punch all the way through. You're just trying to make good contact on that volley.
Rafter originally thought that serve was out.
But he had a good ground stroke point. Comes up to the net, but see how the approach is too short and too high? This allows Ferrero to get over there and pound that pass.
And one of the few times we've seen Chavalito come into the net. Does it effectively with a 5-3 lead. Here are his championships. Started out the year on hard courts in Dubai with a win. Olympics last year, reaching the quarterfinals. And a solid performance at the U.S. Open. Here's the contrasting styles we've talked about. 45 times into the net for Rafter versus 9 for Ferrero.
Oh, awesome. The combination of the serve stretching out Ferrero. Ferrero
10-0.
lofting up the
15.
melon. There's Rafter jamming in on this. See how he takes off 2 or 3 steps. See how that time the forehand volley didn't drop the wrist. Comes right through it.
Now, I'm assuming that the return was that melon you were talking about?
Yeah, that's right. That high melon.
Okay.
That's the second serve you're looking for. See that big biter up close to the net? And he has that serve. He has the one deep in the box, the corner, and then he brings it up that side service line, that side singles line, and gets even more angle. And Rafter looks tired to me. I don't know if you feel that, but you know, you look at his body, his shoulders have dropped, and he doesn't look like he has the energy. And maybe he's just playing, you know, playing it up a little bit and waiting for his time, because now is the time.
Rafter holds on the serve and low. When we come back, Juan Carlos will be serving for the second set. I mean, he was looking a little tired. I mean, playing against a guy like Juan Carlos will run it, I guess you could imagine.
I just think it's all the serving and volley. I think it's actually easier to play baseline tennis because you get in a groove, whereas a serve and volley like Rafter sprints every time he serves, first and second serve, sprints that 5-10 feet to the net and then kind of scrambles after that.
Double faults on his first set point, but he still has 2. That's the way to step up and hit a return.
Well, he takes this ball early, directs it inside at one of the toughest returns to hit because you're going inside out. It's almost like a power move, Mal, where you have to muscle it over there.
First time we've seen him do the topspin on the return. Usually throughout this match, backhand slice.
Not gonna like that call. Busted it out wide.
One more set point, second serve.
Juan Carlos rushed it. Basically, didn't need to go for a big forehand, just loop it back deep. Antonio Martinez, the coach of Juan Carlos Ferrero, not happy with that shot. See the patience there, Mal, letting the ball get into your strike zone, then executing. Sometimes you get rushed, especially on a hard court where the ball's skidding, trying to do too much.
Set that point up better. Set point number 4.
Standing out wider, look at him out on that baseline.
And the fourth one was the charm. Juan Carlos Ferrero evens this match at 1 set all. And when we come back, we'll have the third set to decide who goes. Andrei Pavel from Romania, a winner over hot young Andy Roddick, 6-3 in the third set. And Tommy Haas, the young German, his coach was up here just a moment ago talking to us. Straight sets over Arnaud Clément. And Luke, here's how the draw is set up.
Yeah, you got to look at Rafter and Ferrero. They're the two, you know, favorites. Whoever comes out of this, you've got to say, man, these guys are playing solid. But, you know, Haas has a big game. Santoro has a dicey game. I mean, this tournament has always been riddled with weird winners. You know, Chris Woodruff, Johansson won here last time he was here 2 years ago. It's a strange event.
I mean, a lot of players, a lot of people in the States might not know Tommy Haas that well, but I love that guy's game.
Are you surprised he hasn't done better?
Yes, very surprised he has not won more titles than he has. I mean, I thought that guy had Grand Slam potential. His best Grand Slam, the Aussie Open semifinal a couple years ago.
15.
But has not been able to put it together week after week and string some titles together.
I always call him like a tweener, where he doesn't have a favorite surface. He's not huge on clay. He's not really big on hard courts. He kind of has an all-court game, a couple of good weapons, a decent serve. I mean, he doesn't have that 140 bomb. But there are a lot of players out there that play solid tennis but don't have that big, powerful weapon.
Or that powerful volley. And as a reminder, you can see Andre Pavel and Tommy Haas tomorrow at 1 Eastern on ESPN.
And it could be, you know, Haas's time right here in Montreal that gives him the springboard into the U.S. Open, into the summer hard court circuit. Rafter serving first in this final set. Big advantage. I've always loved serving first in these matches. I mean, the third set or a fifth set.
Why?
Put the pressure on your opponent to be serving to stay in the match. He plays a tough game. You get on top of him. Because even if you break when you're serving second, you still got to hold to close out the match.
First serve.
And if you get a cheap break, I mean, a 4-1 is a big lead in a final set. A 3-0, and one of those, it's a lot easier than the one small break when you're serving second. Serve not enough bite on it. It's right in the strike zone. Short backswing comes through the ball. Good acceleration. Really taking his time in between serves, in between points. Patrick Rafter. See, there's the concentration. He said it in the soundbite. He's not happy with his concentration going in and out. His serve not clicking. You can see it, just the frustration on his face. This is where you got to get tough. You got to knock out this game. I don't know how you do it. 3/4 pace serve. Play for the next shot. Wow.
Look at the quickness and the angle.
Well, Rafter did the right thing. Gets the nice volley he wants, but doesn't stick it enough. The direction is kind of in the center of no man's land instead of jamming it, and the quick Ferrero rips it.
And the little fist pump.
Look at, see the eyes? Good intensity.
Oh. That's what Patrick Rafter does better than anyone on tour right now.
Well, Rafter from a 40-love lead gets into a dogfight now with this guy. You know, he's having to pull out this. If he doesn't make this, he's down break point. I mean, and the bleeding continues. He has got to stop this bleeding right now and get this game.
And he does get the game. One game to love, third set. Today and Sunday, ABC Sports presents the Weetabix Women's British Open. Coverage begins on ABC 2:30 Eastern Time, and final run coverage on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Katrina Matthew of Scotland currently at -9, leading the field. 4 others are 2 strokes back.
Now there we go, some young Spaniards dominating the world in their sport. Sergio
Garcia. Just a matter of time before that guy gets his first major, in my opinion.
15 love.
Who do you think is going to get their first major? Is it going to be Ferrero or Garcia? French Open's, you know, year away. Atlanta coming up.
Wow. Good question. Well, I think Phil Mickelson will get it before Sergio does.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's just a matter of time for Phil.
Part 2.
That's where
15.
I'm sorry. This is where Rafter really can put the pressure and change the momentum tide right now. It's 15 all. Won the first game. Got a foothold in this final set. Beautiful serve.
30.
I don't see Juan Carlos winning the Open this year, for example. If he does win something, I think I can see him winning the French next year, if he can get by Guga.
I mean, he can win this tournament here. I mean, he can play on hard courts. I mean, we don't have a Tiger Woods that is so dominant. Whereas this guy's right at the, you know, elite players. I mean, outside of Guga, maybe on clay, he's probably the best clay quarter out there.
Yes, absolutely.
Good forehand approach now. 30 y'all. Things starting to heat up. Beautiful shot. Stays sideways, and sideways is the key with this, because when you're going over the high part of the net, you have to anchor yourself and then extend through the shot. Here's the forehand. Ferrero's deep in that corner. Where? Look at all the room down the line. Money.
And he never got out of that corner.
And that's the Achilles heel of a baseliner that likes to run around the backhand. You give up that real estate down the line. The double fault.
And it could not have come at a worse time on break point, so Rafter. 2 games to love early in the 3rd set.
Patrick Rafter with, you know, like this Jim Brown type of, when Jim Brown used to play football, you get tackled and then it'd take a long time getting up, and guys that thought he must be tired, and then he'd break one for 30 yards. The same kind of attitude with Rafter here. It looks like he catches the line on that.
15.
Yeah, Sampras used to do that a little bit. You know, you'd see him throw up on the court, and then he'd come out and bomb an ace. Right off the baseline, 15 love.
Oh. Ferrero really on that backhand return.
Cans, part 2. 15 all.
This is where the concentration has to be tight. You're up 2-0 if you're Rafter in his camp. If you can close out this game, get a 3-0 lead, that's a huge beachhead in this final set to close out this match.
Playing such great tennis in August, Rafter. 32-12 in just this tournament and next week's Cincinnati throughout his career.
Do you ever get the feeling you played better in certain places?
Sure.
It was unbelievable. Same with me. I mean, I could not play at Wimbledon. I'd try everything. Nothing worked.
Well, to be honest with you, neither could I before the year I made the final.
It's so strange. But then you'd go to New Haven, play the summer circuit, and you'd play awesome.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it's just the frame of mind. Places you like to go, you like to play. That's where you have the most success many times.
The serve doing the damage right now for Patrick Rafter, getting some cheap returns back. Not free points, but easy volleys. shuts the door on this game.
Great serve from Rafter. Ace number 6.
Rafter leads. Your game's to go.
Rafter taking a 3-love commanding lead in the 3rd set. As a reminder, the winner of this match plays tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. on ESPN.
Gets away with the swinging volley. I'm a big fan of the swinging volley. I mean, it puts a lot of pressure. I think you have to have both. Just does the damage. You know, I mean, if you're confident with your forehand and backhand, do it. Used to do that every once in a while.
Yeah, not too often. I mean, on the forehand a little bit.
Not on the backhand.
But not. Was usually a more conventional volleyer.
Cut on. 0.
Quickly to 40-love.
Cut on. Can.
Ferrero frustrated. No, it's 40-love. Kind of a garbage point. No big deal to serve a double. But just the way this 3rd set has played out.
Well, 7 double faults on the match, including on break point a couple of games ago. But he holds on the serve, gets on the board in the 3rd set. Hey, Luke, you ever wonder how your favorite athletes occupy their free time during the off days? Here's your chance to find out at 10 Eastern. This morning, ESPN The Life will feature American sprinter Marion Jones at her home in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Is Cliff Drysdale in there? Is that love to see The Life with Cliff Drysdale?
Well, see, I don't know if I'd want to actually see that.
Come on, man. He's like Austin Powers. Great return from Ferrero. Zipping out to that forehand side.
Love 50.
Watch how he takes a step over there, gets the racket back early. Time to make his move. Now, so many people will say you have to take away the kick serve of Rafter. I'm starting to think after watching the last 2 nights, you have to take away that middle serve in the ad court. He's really bombing that thing.
Isn't it really the mark of a great server to, with the same ball toss, be able to go out wide and up the tee?
But it's a sign of a good returner to start playing the percentages to see, well, if he's not kicking it out to my backhand, maybe I should favor the forehand wing. I felt with Rafter, you could pick off his toss. He throws it behind him. Instead of like a Pete Sampras toss where it's right in the center, very neutral, where he can do a lot of different things. But watch Rafter's toss over his head, and he's kind of limited with what he can do as far as placement and speed. Because that toss is not good for a big busting serve, and now an opportunity now for Ferrero.
Big second serve, big return here.
Oh, that was close.
Cut on. 30.
He did what he needed to do on that point. Look at this return.
Call this gut check again. Letting it go. Just an inch out. I still say if you're Rafter, 3/4 pace, look for the volley, sting it to the open court. That's your best combination.
Does it even look like he's sweating?
The mosquito never sweats. This guy's used to playing like 10-hour matches. I think he's got spilled some Gatorade on his shirt or something. I think that's it. That's it. See the combination? The slow 3/4 pace serves allows Rafter to get in tight on the net. Ferrero sees that, overplays the shot, hangs it high. There's the toss. Watch Rafter charging in, gets on top of that volley, knocks it off. I really believe that's way in. You can't complain about that one, Carlos.
Taking a long look at it, but I think he agrees.
Hello, Noam.
So from 15-40 now, game point for 4-1.
Look for the second serve to bust into the body of Ferrero. You tried it.
You got to take.
You called that serve. He just didn't execute.
You've seen the last two nights against Martin and now Ferrero. Guys with long reaches, nice wingspan, getting in on him, trying to jam him with these serves, even on the second. Force a weak reply.
Up and top.
See where Rafter's mind is on this one. Again, the inconsistencies, the highs, the lows, the peaks and the valleys with this concentration to close out games.
I say he goes up the tee here. So just like I said, he goes out wide and comes in and puts the volley away. And a couple of squandered break points by Juan Carlos. Rafter the 4-1 lead. Ferrero serving 1-4.
Correction. He made a noise. For sure.
Beautiful touch from Rafter. Now, even though the return of serve wasn't deep, look at this. Ferrero has to address it by going up into the court and hitting up. And that allows Rafter to hit down and find the angle.
10's Parker. 15.
And he comes back with a big serve. Must hold game here.
Beautiful combination, gets the short reply off the nice serve, bangs it to the open court.
Both of these players playing very good tennis right now.
Cut on 10. 40-50.
What I like about this guy is he's down 4-1. Couple things going against him, but he still stays mentally tough. Nice ace, getting some tempo, staying in this match, only down one break. He had chances in the last return game.
And holds on to serve easily. With his 6th ace of the match.
That good body language, on his toes, getting ready for the return. You can't do anything with that. I mean, the placement is perfect. Rafter's charging the net.
Can't do anything with that either.
The combination, the nice serve, getting in tight, knocking it off. And when you're playing a quick opponent, it's good to go backdoor sometimes to keep that opponent honest, that quicker opponent.
Cut on. 40.
When you go behind your opponent, doesn't it really take away his speed because he's not able to run to the open court?
And then in the points coming up, he has to respect that volley going back behind him.
Rafter, 5 games to 2. 1 game away, 1 hold away from the semifinals.
It's a
Flying
great
above
city.
Montreal. It is,
Great
isn't it?
city. Old Montreal is awesome.
Ferrero serving to stay in the match. Love 15.
See, this game is really going to show me something with Juan Carlos Ferrero, in my opinion. If he has a chance to win the Open, he's playing a premier hardcourt player, Patrick Rafter. He may lose this match, but you don't want to give up this match by getting broken once again. You want to make Rafter serve it out. Now, love 30, a big hole for the Spaniard. See, I like that. Positive, not giving away any free points, making Rafter earn this victory.
15.
Sets up the racket head nice and high, puts enough topspin on it to bring it back down. He didn't need to jump up. He did one of those Michael Chang deals where he lifted up with one leg and tried a little showboat action. Now double match point. Oh, that was very close. It's the right play for Rafter.
Oh, he would love to have that return back. Right on his racket. Still match point.
Rafter's ability to hustle side to side, deep in the court. Doesn't try to pass, but get the ball low, scores the victory, and the Rafter camp is fired up.
A well-fought match on both players' sides, but Rafter coming out victorious in 3 sets. 6-2 in the 3rd set in a well-fought match over Juan Carlos Ferrero. He moves on to the semifinals, to the delight of a great crowd here tonight, and his girlfriend and a couple of fellow Aussie players in his camp also.
Treated to a nice match. I mean, I was so excited the way this matchup kind of came about, and the hardcourt player pulled it off.
So well done to the Aussie. He moves on back in familiar territory.